Food chain. The complexity of our reality is rooted in the complexity of our psyche. The less we understand basic order within, the more we are susceptible to mistakes, misinterpretations, confusion, illusion, prejudice, and misbehavior. The worst of all becomes the degradation of human potential, inclining to animalistic tendencies of animal-like body biology. Being on the top of the planetary food chain still does not represent the most important humanitarian human values. Human beings can be very intelligent and highly physically capable, but still lack the most important value of truly respecting, supporting, and helping others. This is not that only material body represents basic survival value in the food chain. What else might be useful on the next food chain level? Human labor. No animal uses other animals to work for them except in symbiosis. This is one of the proofs that human beings are not animals, although dwelling in biologically animal-like bodies. Human beings that are not human enough enslave other humans to work for them. Sometimes it takes place under some compensation, sometimes unconditionally under threats of heavy punishment till execution. Human labor became a very important value of ruling caste power establishment and domination-enforced implementation. Because that enslavement acting in different outfits has been constantly dealing with enough high IQ and capabilities to resist, different methods are constantly under improvement to cunningly take advantage of those incapable to establish negotiation position. In nature, animals do not know the meaning of negotiation. That way, only that matters for the next level of animals who appear in human form is need, ability, tools, and by all means organizational exertion of domination. The next level represents natural resources in a variety of exploitation. In the mentioned aspect, human beings succeeded in the creation of a powerfully organized civilization structure. To express enlarged absurd while a civilization protects inhabitants from wild animals, at the same time enslaves people, in many aspects being even less protected than animals. In the food chain, it is a big question. Does a life chain end on this planet, or does it have further implications? However, only a deeper understanding of analogy in the mind technology provides insights capable of influencing the harmonization of the mentioned mechanisms. This waylist is not finished. What about the possibility that there are needs for humans and other living creatures' emotions as necessary forms of energy for a certain level of existence? That way of thinking is not to be just excluded or simply rejected. On an emotional level, as the highest developed organism on the planet, humans produce a great quantity of emotions. Thoughts can surpass emotions to a certain extent, while emotions can ignore thoughts on critical levels. Both categories belong to mental energy production. Therefore, there is a highly probable possibility that besides body, labor, and resource levels of exploitation, there is some level of human mental level energy enslavement, inevitable for that realm of existence. And for sure, logic is not enough to explain everything. That is where our experience comes into play, simply and well-fitting in widely spread feeling that there is something very unhuman where there many not humanitarianly developed human individuals fearfully serve unconditionally obedient. From the 60s till the 90s of the 20th century, an average blue-collar was able to earn a nice house and one income in a family raising 4 to 6 kids, including a high education. As it is practically incomprehensible that with all today's tech, An average couple with 2 incomes cannot have such a house, not to mention kids, astronomical expenses, and very restrictive conditions families are put into. Another essentially important component of human life exploitation factors is consumption. There is no animal having such needs as an average human. Besides all of that, the human being is a true consumer who can be successfully influenced by a variety of modalities. Powerful but negatively manipulative science, politically supported by powerful lobbies, has been strongly oriented toward extreme consumer mentality boosting. That way, socially, consumers' personality-formed profiles created hyperproduction. Such a trend has not stopped satisfying existing needs, but still continues creating more and more needs, leading on many levels into unsatiated gluttony. At least it appears strange that there are intense, turbulent and unbalanced emotions, thoughts, worries, fears, addictions, perversions, knowledge and traditions, degradation, social insecurity and so many aspects of disharmony, while everywhere there are advertisements of civilizational progress, improvements and so on. And if all of that advertised is not in the function of average human life improvement, what is that so-called progress about? And where are we truly going while being on the planetary food chain? Whatever surrounds us influences our being. It comes in quantities and qualities. Quantities are always countable either by pieces or measuring units. Qualities are describable and therefore sensed, but not directly measurably countable. Science developed ways to compensate for this disadvantage, forming various scales of sensed content spanning from imperceptible, representing 0 level, to maximum as unbearable. Regarding purposes, the mentioned scales might vary in abundance. This kind of approach is being used over all scientific approaches where direct force measurement doesn't apply. While imperceptibly but really happening on different levels, anything influencing our system in such a manner might be ourselves detected but only subconsciously being aware of it. There's no unnecessary repetition if we stress not to forget that there exist many ways of being consciously undetected, but possibly being subconsciously registered. Proof of that comes from many experiments. Especially hypnosis has amazing effects on recalling or getting subconscious memory content out of a targeted nervous system. To everyone's simple logic, it becomes clear that consciously undetected, some energy content, data or objects can penetrate our system. Its effects can be understood, and in many domains experimentally proven correct, significant, important and dubious. At this point, it is hardly possible to avoid imposing questions based on polarity. If there is a proven subconscious reception of executed data transfer, what is going on with the inevitable resulting reaction to it? Let us not forget, all mentioned is part of a reality as unnoticeable environmental influences while possibly exerting alarming effects. The greatest problem about problem itself is its mainly sudden and unexpected appearing. Sometimes a problem arises with undesirable outcomes. And in such a case, when some effect appears naturally, a person does not recognize where, when, why and how it got manifested. It is not difficult to imagine how scenery gets complex and complicated, especially if confusion, anxiety, worries, depression, fears or some other components take place in unpredictable dynamics. Therefore, even with an incomparably lower level of technology versus what we have at the disposal of humanity at this very moment, subconscious influences on our being were proven possible even centuries and millennia ago. What is today technologically possible surpasses even daring fantasy. and even imperceptible to our senses, everything comes in size, mass, shape and consistency, although accompanied by other countable qualities of intensity, pattern, repetition, duration, etc. Although something might be imperceptibly absorbed in our system or penetrating it, in either case it happens out of our awareness. The unnoticeable influences bypass consciousness barrier, influencing conscious indirectly. Unsummarizing all mentioned in light of today's planetary turbulence around climate changes, heating, flooding, tsunamis, earthquakes, net hacking, liberalism till absurd extremes, wars, special aspects of war by information oversaturation, information distortions and pollution, nature pollution, traditional human values degradation attempts and movement against humanity itself, we must consent to declare inevitability to put us properly on the food chain top. It means human beings are not to be treated as animals or worse than animals, while full attention must be put into actions to preserve nature and planet, while protecting societies and civilization in general from the irresponsible behavior of those who do not represent human races as the oneness of equal rights capable of ruling the planet with justice in the spirit of wellness for entire mankind in peace, harmony and prosperity.